Well, the U.S. and Western allies formed a multinational coalition to protect commercial shipping in the Red Sea from attacks by Houthi rebels in Yemen. One country not participating in the mission, though, is China. So for more on this, we are joined now by Phelim Kine. He is who's a correspondent who has been covering this story for Politico. I'm really glad that you are here. So let's talk about this. I think it's maybe 10 or 12 countries involved in this coalition. You can correct me, but not China. Why not?
Yeah, so this coalition, Operation Prosperity Guardian, is led by the U.S., has allies like the U.K. and Bahrain. And the State Department, twice this month, you've had Antony Blinken approach the Chinese foreign minister and say, hey, we have a problem in the Red Sea here. Could you help? And the State Department followed up earlier this week and said, we've reached out. It would be great if China would help. And China's saying, we're not helping. And basically what the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs said is that policing the Red Sea and dealing with this issue of Houthi attacks on civilian shipping, that's really causing this serious choke point for one of the busiest trading routes in the world. 15% of commercial shipping traffic goes through this area. They said this is up to quote unquote relevant countries with who have influence in the region, and like implicitly saying, not our fight, we're not interested. And, that's frankly ridiculous given the fact that the Houthis are backed by Iran and China is a major patron ally of Iran and does have influence and skin in the game and trying to influence what's happening in that area.
Yeah, I totally get that. I'm curious. I listened to a really interesting report about China's military and its readiness. Would China even have the capability to assist in an effort like this?
So if China were willing to take part, its participation would be mostly symbolic. I mean, China does have is rapidly expanding naval power, but mostly in the Indo-Pacific. And it has sailed multiple ships, naval ships through that area, but they have a problem with they have limited resources and also limited basing. I mean, the U.S. is totally set up for long-term, long-range operations in that area. It's a little bit more complicated for China to do so. But the fact is that they made clear that they're not willing to break a sweat to try to help.
So you talked about China's relationship with Iran, and I want to kind of like flesh that out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is this just about not ruffling feathers where you have some relationships, or is there kind of more to this strategy, more to Beijing's agenda?
Yeah, so I mean, we got to remember that the China-Iran relationship is lubricated by oil sales to Beijing, a mutual antipathy toward the United States, and Beijing essentially giving a lifeline to an Iranian economy that's hobbled by sanctions. But it's in Beijing's interest to see the United States and the United States military increasingly thinly stretched around the world. And so at a time when there's heightening tensions across the Taiwan Strait ahead of Taiwan's election next month, when you have heightening tensions in the South China Sea between Chinese naval forces and the Philippines, for Beijing to see the U.S. distracted, thinly spread, and having to have multiple carrier deployments to the Red Sea right now, it doesn't, it actually helps them in a way.
Yeah, that makes it a really interesting conversation. Phelim, thank you very much.